What if you posted a picture of yourself and Barbara Streisand commented,
"Did you get a lower breath? Did you get a lower breath?"
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
okay, we're recording whenever.
Hi, everybody. Hi.
Hi, we're back.
We're back and ready.
We're back
for round two.
For round two, back from the past.
What do you want? What do you want? What is it we can help you with? What is it we can help you with today? What can we do for you?
I mean, last week we
Yes.
told you
Yes.
that we were recording this from the past.
You're in the future.
And we're here in the future. It's summertime, even though it kind of feels like summertime in New York City right now.
Yesterday was so warm, but today it's cold.
It was so warm yesterday in New York City.
Gina
and
just poked her nose onto my fingernail, and my fingernail fully went into her nostril. That is unacceptable, Gina. It couldn't have felt good.
That's the definition of an unforced error, Gina.
Gina. So insane.
Yesterday was so warm in New York City. It was like almost a record high. It was in the 80s. And then it like sprinkled in the afternoon. And
Which
it
was
became
kind of amazing, though. That sprinkling was kind of amazing.
It was so good, but then it was like cold and windy after. I was caught out without a warm garment.
Yeah, that was weird.
And I went to a chiropractor. That's why I was outdoors after hours, because I was going to an after hours chiropractor.
What? Where did
which
you
is
go?
what you can do in New York City. Some lady that I got on ZocDoc.
Amazing. We don't know if they're advertising this week on the podcast, but guys, just so you know, we really use it. We really use
ZocDoc, and she like really fixed up my jacked up back. My back sounds like just a bunch of pool balls knocking around into each other back there. It's not great.
I get it.
It's not great.
My neck has been its own situation, I have to say.
Oh,
not great. Not great.
But anyway, she was great.
Amazing.
And but it was very cold, and I was wishing that I was back at Casa Kismet
In the warmth.
where I had a sweater.
The warmth of the kiss.
Anyway, we're back to answer more advice questions, which, as we said last week, you're probably all already over.
You're like lol, I don't even care about that anymore.
But we asked you to submit some questions, and I'm looking through the list right now of questions so that we can answer one for you, even though you're probably already over it.
But maybe, as I said last week.
Yeah.
Here's why advice shows are so great and why people read advice columns, why I've always loved it. I mean, Ask E. Jean, come on.
Oh,
iconic.
We love E. Jean.
I love E. Jean. Bless E. Jean, and may she live the rest of her life with the knowledge that she's a fucking hero.
Maybe one day she'd come on the podcast. We have to reach out and see.
That is, I swear to God, it is really an exciting idea to me. You know, I literally had Ask E. Jean like clipped out and put up in my room as a teenager. Yeah, I just was obsessed with her advice. I always thought it was so spot on, and yeah, I just really love her. And then also we have the same name, so Elizabeth Jean.
Oh, that's true, Elizabeth Jean, and she has a Substack, and we have a Substack, and her Substack recommends our Substack, which I was never more honored in my life.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And we obviously recommend her Substack, but we have gotten so many Substack subscribers through E. Jean Carroll, even though we don't know each other personally. But I think she can just tell that we love her. And so maybe, who knows? Who knows? How is that stuff working on your eyes? Does it feel like anything?
No. Does it look different?
I mean, I think it does a little bit. Look on your phone. Okay. Busy tried this.
Phones are bad mirrors.
Busy tried this under eye cream stuff that I was telling her to try. It's like an under eye tightening thing that
I don't think I used enough.
Oh, maybe you have to use
I think
more.
I want to use more.
Okay. All right.
Maybe I should try it. Maybe I'll do it right now. Hold on.
Okay. And then I was like, you have to hold your face still for 7 minutes. I don't know if it's 7 minutes. I don't know why I said 7 minutes. I just feel like that's enough time for this under eye temporary tightener, which, you know what? Nobody needs to tighten their under eyes, but if you wish to have tighter under eyes and there's a product and it works for you and it's reasonably priced, you just use a tiny amount. If that makes you feel like good about your under eyes, I say it's okay. I say it's okay and you should go for it and not feel bad about it. And what if
I probably put too much, but we'll see.
What if you posted a picture of yourself and Barbara Streisand commented,
"Did you get a lower breath? Did you get a lower breath?"
Oh my gosh, because maybe you don't remember. We'll remind you back in April,
Guys. It's
when
April.
we were recording this and we referred to it last week, Melissa McCarthy posted a picture on Instagram and Barbara Streisand, the Barbara Streisand,
All I
commented,
can think of is that song now.
what song?
Barbara Streisand.
Barbara Streisand.
You know that song?
Yeah, the like club song.
The techno song.
Barbara
It's like
Streisand.
Barbara Streisand.
Yes, and then someone covered it for like Marla Gibbs or something, or like vice versa.
Oh.
I remember at Watch What Happens Live, we loved the Marla Gibbs version. But anyway, Barbara Streisand just asked Melissa McCarthy on Maine, "Did you take Ozempic?" And it was wild. It caused a big sensation back in April, and who knows? Who knows what could have been going on? We don't know anything about it, but we are wondering if Barbara Streisand would be like, "Busy, you look great.
Did you get a lower breath?
Did you get an eye job?"
Anyway, I'm trying not to smile because I'm trying to get.
Okay, don't
I
smile.
can feel it now tightening. It really feels tight. It's weird. It feels weird.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
Busy's using this. It's like a viral
Peter Thomas Roth.
Peter
is the
Thomas
name of
Roth.
the
viral
person.
eye tightening product that I have had some success with. But it doesn't, I mean, listen, it doesn't work forever and it doesn't. Busy's
It feels like it's like pulling my eyes open.
Busy's like eye movements right now are hilarious to me.
Oh God, Gina.
What you got, Gina? Oh, she's just crunching a little. She's crunching a little bottle back there. Anyway, should we get to some questions while you wait?
Let's get some questions going.
While you wait for your eyes to shrink?
Let's get some questions going.
This is a question that we got a lot about grief, which totally makes sense
Understandable.
because that's
Grief.
Yeah, that's been our lives. But I do, without being too repetitious, I do want to ask everyone's questions because you were nice enough to send in your questions. And again, like, I mean, grief is clearly a big deal. And so anything we have to say that's useful, I guess, bears repeating. Gina's solution to grief is to crunch a toy.
Yeah, 100%.
That's how she is soothing herself. Okay, so this question says, "Hi. So I have been blessed to listen to you each openly express your grief through the death of a parent and a best friend. I recently lost someone very close to me. My father recently passed away, and I wanted to ask you both what advice you would offer someone who is navigating this difficult path of loss. I'm also doing my best to help my 16-year-old and 8-year-old process the loss, so any mom wisdom you can sprinkle on top is welcome and appreciated." In my imagination, Caissie is reading this email, and if that's correct, I just want to thank you for being you. Love and best, Stacey Anderson. Stacey, we love you and we send you our best. And I'm
All
so
our
sorry to hear
best.
about your dad.
Yeah, and our condolences too, because we're so sorry for your loss.
That's really hard. When I lost my dad, it was so different than when I lost my mom. Both were sudden, which, you know, is a curse in a lot of ways and like, I guess, a blessing in some ways if you're the type of person to look for what's a blessing. With my dad in particular, like, and with both of my parents, I had maybe not the relationship that I wished to have with either of my parents. And I think some of that was on me because I was a grown-up at that point. But also, you know, they bore some responsibility in that as well. But I miss both of my parents. I miss having them in my life and just knowing that they're here on Earth, like still learning and growing. One thing that I did with my dad is that I had a really pleasant memory of my dad, no matter what was going on in his life. And sometimes it was wild, to be honest, like chaos and whatever. I'm not even gonna get too deep into it, but no matter what was going on in my dad's life, he would visit his mother, my grandmother, and sit and have coffee with her, like just sit and have coffee with her regularly. Sometimes it was every day. Sometimes it was a few times a week. It was just something that like, and I see that habit in myself, sitting and having coffee. Like I have to sit and have coffee with someone for a little while. I can't just like bang, rush out the door in the morning. Like I have to sit and have coffee either with myself or my husband or my son, something. And so I love that that is a part of me that clearly either I learned from my father or it's like genetic or whatever. That's a part of me that is him despite all other things. So I just started having coffee with my dad, which I know is so weird to think about, but I really would just sit with a cup of coffee and sort of just think about my dad and meditate on my dad in a quiet time. And that really helped me deal with the grief of, you know, missing out on having him in my life in whatever way he was in my life at the time. And it's just one of those things that it sounds kind of kooky, but also it was very healing and helpful to me to just, you know, I think in the past we've talked about like reparenting ourselves and like grieving for the things that didn't happen in your relationship with your parents. And so I almost think of this as like a cousin to like reparenting myself. I almost think of it as just like giving myself something to, you know, yeah, just to sit with like my memories of my dad and think about him and wish him well wherever he is and hope that whatever existence he's leading wherever in the universe is better and comfortable and easy. And so that was something that's just like a practical thing you could do that I found really helpful.
I love that. And I also think, like in terms of helping children to process grief, bringing up things, continuing to kind of like bring up the memory is okay. Like of a person. By the way, we were just walking in the West Village and Mark and Cricket and I were having like a little outing, the three of us.
Yeah.
Because we like to spend time with Cricks together, you know. And this man walked past and I was like, oh my God, Mark, that guy looks like your dad.
Aww.
Like he looked like Arnie, you know?
Yeah.
And like we all just had this nice moment of like being able to like, oh God, he did.
Yeah.
And then we laughed and Mark told a story. You know, like I think not being afraid to bring up the loss or the person that's gone is important to kids especially. Like where they can feel like if their grandpa comes into their head, they can feel okay, like saying to you something about it because, you know what I mean? Like the door's open.
Yeah. Your grandpa would have loved that. This was that thing that you ordered at the restaurant was your grandpa's favorite.
Totally.
That reminds me of.
Totally.
Yeah. I think that's so great because, well, being able to be honest about it. I know as a kid that my mom had suffered some losses that I always felt were still too tender to really, for me to have, like it was so emotional for my mom and she hadn't dealt with her grief so much that I couldn't really have my feelings about it because if I brought up my feelings, it would like make her break down. And so I always had to keep my feelings in So, so that my mom could go on, which that's a big job for a kid. And so, so that's just, I would say like process things the best you can and be honest and like say like, oh, this really, I'm just feeling sad today. Or I'm feeling happy. I'm remembering your grandfather and this was his favorite time of year, whatever you can. Just like, I think the honesty and approachability is the way to go with kids. But I'm so sorry. And it does get a little better sometimes, but a lot of times it just plain old sucks.
It's plain old sucks.
It's, as I like to say, it's stupid. It's just, it's stupid how much it sucks. Oh, but anyway, we're sending you love.
Hey guys, if you're anything like me, you're chronically online and constantly being served ads for supposedly life-changing stuff that's frankly too good to be true. You need to read your labels and be a little bit of a skeptic to save yourself from wasting your time and your money. Ritual knows that every skeptic deserves a multivitamin that isn't just good, it actually exceeds your standards. Ritual's clinically backed Essential for Women 18 Plus multivitamin has high quality, traceable key ingredients in clean, bioavailable forms. I take my Ritual every night as part of my bedtime routine. It's my ritual. I'm also a fan of the Symbiotic Plus Gut Health because you know me and you know my gut. Ritual has a bunch of fantastic formulas for whatever your individual needs. I think you should try it. Maybe start with the Multi for Women 18 Plus because it has 9 key nutrients in 2 delayed release capsules per day to optimize your body's absorption. Plus, it's gentle on an empty stomach, which is good for me. And Ritual put their multivitamin to the test in the university-led clinical trial where over 12 weeks it was shown to increase vitamin D levels by 43% and omega-3 levels by 41%. Ritual's Essential for Women is also USP verified, so you know you can trust what you're putting in your body. It's vegan, non-GMO project verified, gluten and major allergen free. We love it. No more shady business. Ritual's Essential for Women 18 Plus is a multivitamin you can actually trust. Get 25% off your first month at ritual.com/busy. Start Ritual or add Essential for Women 18 Plus to your subscription today. That's ritual.com/busy for 25% off. Hey, what kind of summer are you having this year? A hot girl summer? A brat summer? Personally, I'm having a self-care summer because whether I'm spending the day at the beach or more likely shuttling my kids back and forth to camp, the one thing I always have with me is my own personal microbiome and those 38 trillion bacteria that live in and on us, especially in our guts, which are essential to whole body health. Seed's DSO1 Daily Symbiotic benefits your gut, skin, and heart health in just 2 capsules a day. I'm always looking for anything that can improve my digestion and, let's be honest, my regularity. And if it's going to also make my skin look and feel better, give it to me. Seed is incredibly easy to fit into my daily routine because it doesn't need to be refrigerated. Plus, you get a free travel vial in their welcome kit that allows you to bring it with you so you can get your DSO1 on the go. I trust Seed because it's been rigorously tested in multiple clinical trials, and their patented capsule and capsule design ensures all 24 strains of probiotic bacteria survive the journey, not just to you, but also through you. You know what I'm saying? 100% of the dose is delivered where it needs to go. There's no synthetic or chemical coatings, and Seed's subscription service makes it so easy to stick to my DSO1 routine. So support your gut this summer with Seed's DSO1 Daily Symbiotic. Go to seed.com/best and use code 25best to get 25% off your first month. That's 25% off your first month of Seed's DSO1 Daily Symbiotic at seed.com/best, code 25best.
Okay, here's another question. Busy, I don't know if you're going to have a lot to say about this because I feel like this isn't plaguing you too much, but maybe you'll have good advice anyway. The note starts, to what end? Facial hair. Ugh, I've been battling it my whole life. I feel like I've tried facial nair plucking, many different micro-touch devices, etc., and I just cannot afford electrolysis, which I hear hurts like a bitch, by the way. Anyway, I have rosacea and very sensitive skin, and this is a weekly nuisance and takes up so much of my time in life. I'm always worried about rogue chin hairs and stubble, especially if I'm talking to someone in the sunlight. I think my face would freak out if I tried to laser my lip and chin, and I'm not sure I can afford that either. Also, I heard that once your facial hair starts to turn gray, lasering is not an option because the hair follicle has to be a dark color. Is that true? Help. How do you ladies handle it? Love from your hairy bestie. It's anonymous.
Wait, you know what I do have that one of my makeup artists gave me?
What's that?
It's like this coil.
Oh, almost like
And it just like, and you like roll it on your face and it just like rips out all the hair.
Okay.
And I kind of love it.
You love that?
Yeah, it
Okay.
works for me.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think there's a lot of things. What you said is true about like lasering only works on dark hair. If the hair is light for whatever reason, because it's gray or blonde, it doesn't really, it's not able to zap it like that. Also, I got to tell you that I spent a great deal of money years ago getting laser hair removal on my body, and I did the entire thing that at the time they were telling me would lead me to a hair-free existence for the rest of my life, and that is not true. I still have to shave my legs and armpits and other things. There's maybe less hair than I had, but I'm not a hairless person despite the thousands of dollars that I paid to be hairless for life. So I'm just letting you know that that's probably not even a permanent option. Here's what I will say. I know that I think there's a prescription cream that will slow facial hair growth. That being said, I don't know what's in that cream, and I don't know how it keeps hair in your face, hairs that want to come out. So I can't speak to like any side effects of it. I do know that tweezing is effective, but that it can be hard to stay on top of all of those hairs that are just, I'm always like, Busy, do you do this? Do you like have tweezers near the toilet, and when you're like sitting on the toilet, you tweeze things?
No, because I have, because I suffer a little bit from like an OCD picking thing.
Right.
So I really try to limit tweezer time for myself.
Right.
Personally,
Because
it can
that's
go
a bad
awry.
road to go down.
It really
for
can
you.
go nuts. But yeah, also there's dermaplaning, especially if you have rosacea. But I would get it done professionally.
Right.
Don't do it yourself. I had one of those dermaplane devices. I think we all know what happened.
Right. Remember when Busy like shaved off the top few layers of her skin?
Like literally was bleeding.
You've injured yourself more than once with a dermaplane.
Was bleeding.
Yeah.
Bleeding. Cuts on my face.
I'll also say this is
so dumb.
I mean, thank God you didn't make a scar on your face. No permanent damage. I'll also say this is controversial, but I don't think the reasons why it's controversial are why it should be controversial. You can also just fully shave your face.
Yeah, you can.
with a disposable razor or an electric razor or whatever. Use shaving cream. People say the reason it's controversial is because everyone wants to make you believe, oh, if you do that, your hair is going to grow in darker or thicker.
It doesn't.
That's not true.
It's not
It's
true.
not possible. It can't make
true.
new hair follicles under your skin.
It's not true.
It's possible that the edges are a little sharper when they come out, so that might bother you. But I think the real reason why it's controversial is because it's such a man-coded thing to shave your face. And so women doing it think that it's like a weird manly thing to do, to like put shaving cream on your face and shave your face. I don't think it is weird. Everyone I've ever heard.
That's all dermaplaning is just shaving your face.
It is, right. So, and I just think that like it gets rid of dead skin cells on your face. It's relatively safe. If you can shave your legs, you can probably safely shave your face. You can do it once a week in the shower. No one ever has to see you do it. It's your own business. I think that that's probably a good solution to catch most of the hairs that you think that you're missing. And then I try to keep tweezers every single place that I'll be, like your glove compartment, because that's when you always notice.
I have friends who keep who exclusively tweeze in the car because the light is so good.
Right.
The light and the mirror.
I just think make a mental note of wherever you're discovering new hairs on yourself that are annoying you, and then keep tweezers in that place, because that's probably so for me, it's the toilet and the car. And then, How are you, Busy? How are you feeling about the eye tightening?
I feel insane. It looks crazy. I can tell.
Did you look at it?
No. I mean, I can't really tell on a...
But it just feels very...
It feels like my eyes are like stuck open.
She doesn't like it. She's not into it.
No, it's gross. I have to take it off. Yeah, no.
It's not for her. The eye tightening is not for her. Okay. Here's a question that someone has for us. Paige asks, have you ever dated a best friend? I'm nervous to take the leap. I think it could be really amazing, but I'm also worried about losing him forever. We are both single for about 6 months now, for the first time in almost 5 years, and we've grown even closer. I think the only reason we're in the friend zone is because of me, and I'm starting to rethink that. In all honesty, I think I want to give it a go, but I'm looking for reassurance or waiting for the other shoe to drop. Could it be this easy?
I mean, for sure you should date your best friend. 100%. I think you for sure should. You might not have a best friend after if it doesn't work out. But best case scenario,
it works out.
It works out.
I think that all of the best long-term love relationships, even if they don't stay love relationships forever, I think the most successful ones are because the couple had a strong foundation of friendship.
I agree.
And so you're saying you already have that with this person? And here is what I think, like the real truth of it for me, Paige, is that like if you're already in a place where you're envisioning getting together with this person and like you're both single and you're best friends, and I get the concern, but I'm saying your relationship has already transformed in a way that there might not be any coming back from. Like it might not continue on in the same way, whether you get together or not. So I think for me, I would say explore the relationship, the romantic relationship, and definitely share your concerns with each other about, well, we don't want to jeopardize our friendship. But I think that's, I'm going to say it, I think that's the coward's way out of like avoiding something that you're afraid of, saying like, I don't, or sometimes I think it's like something that we say when we're not really interested in the other person, like, I don't want to destroy our great friendship. And so 100%, I'm never going to explore a romantic relationship with you, but I don't think that's the case here. It sounds like you're both interested in exploring a romantic relationship and you genuinely are worried about jeopardizing your friendship, but I think it sounds like it's already out there and you're already past maybe the point of no return, where if you don't explore it, your friendship might not be the same anyway. You know what I mean? And so what are you gonna, will they or won't they for like the next 5 years? Probably not. Like if you're interested in each other, you're interested in each other. And that's powerful and hard to deny. So I would say just kind of go for it, but you know, keep your wits about you.
Keep your wits about you.
And make sure that, like, if it doesn't work out, that you can kind of stay friends.
Yeah. Well, you'll have to move through that. But don't worry about that right now.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about that right now. Listen, we're not there.
We're not there yet.
We're not there.
Okay. Here is a question from someone who didn't sign it, so they must want it to be anonymous.
Great.
Busy, I read about sparkly people in your book. Can you tell us more? Is it like an aura? Who is the most sparkly person you've met? Is there an opposite of sparkly? Thanks.
Wow. That's a lot of questions about sparkly. I don't know. I just fucking made it up, guys. No, listen. I think that we all know sparkly people. I think we all know sparkly people. I think sparkly people are all around us.
And different people sparkle for different people.
Different people sparkle for different people. Some people sparkle for everyone. Some people do not. Some people don't think I'm sparkly. You know what I mean? They think I'm annoying. That's fine. I dig it. I'm okay with that. She's not for everybody sometimes, turns out. Anyway, but I think sparkly people are more just like those people that you see in the world, wherever they might be, doing whatever they might be doing. It's not always a person who's like in entertainment or working in a public facing way, but like somebody who just has a real, it's not an aura. It's a way of being, like an ease with themselves and like an openness and I don't know, a thing that like makes people want to be closer and know more and hang out with those people.
Yeah, I always think like for me, the sparkliest people are people that are welcoming. And when someone, I'll admit it, sometimes I make an assumption that someone won't be welcoming, and not because like I think they're a jerk or whatever. I just think that people have their own thing going on and they usually have a thing that they came to a place to do or whatever. And so whenever anyone goes out of their way to be welcoming to me, and I feel so honored that like I'm even on their radar or whatever, that's very sparkly for me. And I think it's like, it's a skill. Some people are so good at it. I know I've told this story before, but like one time I went to visit my friend on the set of a TV show and like Henry Winkler was on the TV show, and Henry Winkler, he didn't know me, but he, for some reason, he just was like, decided he was going to make sure that I was taken care of that day. And like why Henry, like it was hot. Henry Winkler wanted to make sure I had enough water to drink. He kept coming over to me to just.
Henry Winkler is, objectively speaking, also I've spent time with Henry Winkler, such a sparkly person.
Yeah, he's like
unbelievable, so sparkly it hurts your eyes.
Yeah, and he just, that to me is like sparkly person.
I love him.
What is it about? I mean,
I love him so much.
Love him so much. And he's, just kind and funny and like, just giving you the time of day and also like delivering killer performances and everything. For years and years.
Forever. In everything forever. I think he might be one of the sparkliest people I've ever met in my life. For real.
Yeah.
My mom is like still talks about riding in an elevator with him, like when he was like the Fonz. It was like the highlight of her life. But I get it.
Yeah.
Like fully get it. I mean, I'm trying to think of any other good sparkles I can tell you about, like some sparkly people that I was like, oof, my goodness.
Fantasia Barrino.
Fantasia.
She is
so
just one of those people that like.
Olivia Rodrigo,
I
would say in person, in real life. She's
Danielle
sparkly.
Brooks, the actor Danielle Brooks.
My flight attendant, Keenan, that I just had on the way to LA, he was very sparkly.
That's
in
like
the best way, like just not, and it wasn't like, he wasn't like loud or trying to make jokes or something. It just like emanated from within this like real something special.
Yeah.
Sarah Bareilles, Renee Elise Goldsberry, Paula Pell, three sparklers. They are some real fucking sparklers. Birdie Silverstein, a real sparkler. Both of your kids, I mean, Cricket Silverstein as well.
Yeah.
Cricket's a sparkler in a different way.
Yeah.
She's a slow burn sparkler.
Yeah, she's like a little lower key, but she's super interesting.
Which is like Eli is weirdly a little bit more lower key than Lincoln as a sparkler.
Yeah, because Lincoln's like a performer and Eli's more like, it's so funny because I think in my family, Lincoln has a reputation for being so funny. It's like he makes an effort to be funny. He's trying to perform. He's trying to do comedy. And so like, mission accomplished. That's great. There's nothing better he can be told than that he's funny. Eli is also wildly hilarious, but in just not unintentional. Like he knows he's being funny, but he's not performing. He's just being funny, like in the course of whatever he's doing daily. So it's so funny because I feel like people are always telling Lincoln that he's funny, but Eli is equally hilarious. And you know that I would never give it up to my kids if they I would be like, you're nice, but you're not hilarious, but they are both genuinely pretty funny. Remember that doorman? We shot something and we did it in like a rented space, and the doorman at the building was like the sparkliest person.
The best.
That
the best. We loved him so much.
And I was like, how unfair is it that we just get to come in and out of this door like 2 times, and this man will never be in our life after today. And we just loved him so much. So like sparkling isn't particular to entertainment. I do think that there are probably a lot of public facing sparklers in jobs. It probably helps, like, to be a flight attendant. It probably helps more to be sparkly than the opposite of sparkly. What's the opposite of sparkly?
Just a real dud.
A real pill.
Just a dud.
A real sour kangaroo.
Just a real sour kangaroo.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, that's a good question about sparkly people, but that's what Busy means when she's talking about sparkly people. We all know some sparklers, and I'd imagine there's also like false sparklers too. I'd imagine sometimes you think someone's sparkly and then
they're just a narcissist.
And then you're like, oh God.
Guys, that has happened.
Yeah. Fool's gold. That's what they used to call it in prospector days, fool's gold.
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Well, social media has been a real mixed blessing in my life because while I love a lot of things social media can do, sometimes what it does is brings me to a pretty dark place where I'm comparing what's going on in my life to somebody else's. And it makes me feel less than. It's just not healthy. So I'm really grateful for therapy because that's how I refocus on what really matters. I can work toward what I want and what I need instead of being hung up on what somebody else has. I can start living my best life again. Therapy teaches me better coping skills, helps me set boundaries, and empowers me. And honestly, it's a better use of my time than doom scrolling, which is the other unhealthy thing I do on social media. And I'm sure some of you think you don't need therapy because you haven't had some major trauma. Well, I might beg to differ. We've all got things we need to work through in order to feel like our best selves. We do. So if you've been thinking of getting into therapy, why not give BetterHelp a try? It's entirely online. It's convenient, flexible. It fits your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. And if for whatever reason you don't think it's a good match, you can change therapists at no additional charge at any time. So stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/busy for 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/busy for 10% off your first month. Thanks, BetterHelp. Listen, if you've been with this podcast for a minute, you know just how much Caissie and I cannot get enough of Thrive Cosmetics. We love their skincare. It's elite. We love their makeup, especially the Liquid Lash Extensions mascara. I'm just going to say it. It's my signature. People always ask, are those your real lashes? And I'm here to tell you, it is the Thrive Liquid Lash Extensions. It's a 2-wing mascara, so no more raccoon eyes, and the little tubes just come right off when you wash your face. But Thrive has a new product, and I'm so excited about it. It works so well. It's the Empower Matte Precision Lipstick Crayon. It's a long-wearing lip color. It stays on for up to 12 hours. And not only is it not thick or sticky or drying, it actually feels like you're just wearing nothing. But somehow it's also moisturizing. It's like magic. The colors are perfect. I can put a little swipe of that on, a coat of Liquid Lash Extensions mascara, and HOTTOGO, you know? And we're not just big fans of Thrive's makeup formulations at this podcast. We also love that every purchase we make contributes to amazing causes that we believe in and are happy to support. Thrive has us looking good and feeling pretty good too. So refresh your everyday look with Thrive Cosmetics, the beauty that gives back. Right now, you can get an exclusive 10% off your first order at thrivecosmetics.com/best. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/best for 10% off your first order.
Somebody whose screen name is Puffy Princess Sticker, adorable, simply asks, hobby suggestions? Moving out of the really young child phase, what else are we supposed to do besides work, parent, and exercise?
I mean, I don't know. I just started to do pottery.
Pottery.
I got into pottery, my watercolors. I like to do art.
Yeah.
Art.
Art.
You know, a lot of people love watching their shows. I'm not going to say not to watch a show. If you like a show, you like a show. Go see live music, though.
Yeah.
I mean, shows like TV shows. Like a lot of people get really into like TV shows.
Yeah.
That's why that becomes people's hobbies. But I like things that are a little bit more participatory.
Yeah.
Depending on where you live. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're like, that's cute for you, Busy. I don't like doing art, which is fair.
That's valid.
That is valid. Some people do not like it. Honestly, some people aren't good at it. And that's okay. Not everyone's good at everything. But going to see art
is great.
is great. There are always galleries. Going to see live music is so fun.
Yeah.
And a thing that you have more freedom to do as your kids get older. And, you know, I think there's also a thing that's like, it's okay to not have a hobby.
Yeah.
Like to not have a thing that's like a consistent, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I think that we have a lot of pressure to always be creating or doing.
Right.
And like, it's okay to not. You are raising children as they get older. Maybe you want to take a bath.
Maybe that's your hobby.
You know, or maybe, but if you're, here's a great example. Best friend Chrissy B. Chrissy. Do you know what she's been doing?
What's she been doing?
She's been taking acting classes at the local community college.
That's so cool.
Yeah, she's in her third one. And just like totally for funsies. Like,
I love that.
She was just like, it was a thing I never did in high school, never did growing up.
Yeah.
And I was kind of just like, yeah, I want to do that. I want to like learn about it. So maybe there's a thing like that too. Maybe there's like, you know what my mom's doing right now?
What?
She just started taking piano lessons again.
Good for your
And then
mom.
she made us sit through a 6-minute video recording of her playing a piece by Chopin. And I was just like, and she's like, wait, listen. I was like, Mom, but like the tinny recording video of you playing this, I mean, it's very exciting.
Well, she needs a piano in her house so that
she
can...
has one.
Oh, okay.
This was when she was visiting. She
Oh,
was just showing, and I was like,
yeah.
okay, well, I'm like, maybe we FaceTime next time and you can just play for me live.
Yeah.
But also 6 minutes is too long. But I'm just saying, like, only you can decide what your hobbies look like.
Yeah.
And if there's a thing that Instagram is a great place, that explore page.
It really is. And I was going to say puffy princess sticker. First, I think you need to, because we've touched on a couple things here, I think you need to determine whether you want to do something that's regular and participatory or whether you want something that's more flexible and less commitment oriented. So like, for example,
Yeah, a class is a class.
a class is a class
commitment.
and you need to go every week and show up in order to get anything out of it and you need to participate. But that might be too much for you at this point. You might find that your schedule is not flexible enough to allow you to do that. You might not have the time to commit to it. It might end up making you feel more pressured than it does relaxed. Or it might be just the thing. You might be like, for 1 hour a week, let me check out of everything else and go to this comedy writing class or this exercise class. Well, you mentioned exercise is not a thing that's a hobby, but for some people it's a hobby. Do I want to go to this pottery class? Do I want to join a volleyball league? Do I want to volunteer somewhere? Those are things that take a commitment, and that might be just the thing. If you need something more flexible, maybe it's that you want to try to read a book a month and that you can do that wherever and whenever you find the time. Maybe makeup is your hobby, maybe fashion. I think that For You page, what I use it for, I tell myself that I'm using it for this, but I think it is really true. I try to really pay attention to what is catching my eye and what I'm responding to, like what I'm smiling at. And increasingly for me, it's fashion. And I think about like I have some sewing experience and I like to do design. I like to have design ideas, and I did this big like clothing exchange this past fall, and I'm starting to like, people are already starting to message me like, can we do that again? And I'm like, yes, that seems like a natural progression for the things that I'm interested in and that make me smile and that I think about a lot throughout the day, in addition to like the things that I'm responsible for thinking about. Like that, like fashion is a thing that I think about for pleasure. And so that's a thing that I think when I'm starting to consider like what it is my next hobby is going to be, I should take that into consideration, that fashion makes me smile and that I'm into it. And it's a thing that brings happiness to my life. And so maybe I could take a fashion design class, or maybe I could just do things independently, more flexibly. But yeah, I think you got to figure out what you want to do. And also like, don't dismiss anything out of hand as like not being a hobby. Because sometimes I think people are like, that's just reading. It's not a hobby. And I'm like, no, it is. Like you could be in a book club. You could volunteer at your library. You could, or you can just like agree to read, or you could just start listening to audiobooks while you're doing all the other things that you need to do. Those are all valid hobbies. It doesn't have to be like hang gliding, you know? It doesn't have to be something that you invest.
I mean, it would never be hang gliding for me, but yes.
Never. I would not even recommend hang gliding. I feel like hang gliding is so 70s. Do people even still do it?
I'm sure they do.
I'm sure they do, but I feel like it's such a, I feel like there's no need. Get virtual reality goggles.
I do have to say that Cricket and I watched that Please Don't Destroy movie with
Yes.
the silly kids from SNL.
Yeah.
And there is a really funny bit in like one of those suits, the like hang gliding suits. That's what people wear now. Where you look like a sugar glider.
Yes, you look like a flying squirrel. Yeah.
And there's a really funny bit where like one of the guys, like a wind gust takes him and then he's like a kite. It made me laugh so hard at the time. And I was like, I'm not stoned, but this is like definitely stoner humor.
Oh my God.
That feels insane to me, to wear like one of those suits and do it.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
That seems crazy.
Or you could go in one of those tunnels like they have in Las Vegas, like the wind tunnel where it's like skydiving kind of, but it's just in the safety of Las Vegas, in the safety of a casino. I mean, it still seems a little dangerous, but to me, but it must be safe. They have it in malls, I think, like where not that's more like a one-time thing. I couldn't imagine that becoming a regular hobby for someone, but maybe, I don't know. But if it's anything that is physically dangerous, I would say try the virtual reality version of it first to see if that satisfies your itch.
Totally.
When I was flying here, the man in front of me had virtual reality goggles on, and he was like batting at things and like whacking at the air the entire time. And I was like halfway cracking up, but also halfway like, bless this guy. Like he's having the time of his fucking life and he does not care that he looks nuts on this plane. And everyone just let him be. Everyone just, no one looked at him sideways after the first couple times where he flailed his arms around. I don't know what he was doing. I was curious. I should have asked. I should have been like, sir, what is virtually happening in there?
I saw a friend of mine, an actor, on a flight, and he had the Apple goggles. And I was like, that is amazing.
What do you think he was doing in there?
Watching a movie? I don't know.
All right.
Hi, are you having sex? I hope so. I hope you're having very good sex, whether that sex is with a partner or maybe even on your own. And I don't know your life, but what if I told you, even if you're having really good sex, it's possible for it to be even better? How? with Foria. Specifically, Foria's Awaken Arousal Oil and Sex Oil. Those two are the hottest couple I know, and you should invite them over to your place and into your bedroom. Because you deserve to have access to bigger, more pleasurable orgasms, and Awaken Arousal Oil plus Sex Oil is going to help get you there. Foria uses all natural and plant-based ingredients to intensify sexual pleasure while also reducing any discomfort you might be experiencing. Don't just take my word for it. Foria has a huge cult following with tens of thousands of satisfied customers who say their sex lives have been transformed. So if you have a vagina or you love someone who has a vagina, get things started with Awaken Arousal, which uses CBD and has a little warming sensation. Then once the oven is preheated, go in with that sex oil and bring it on home, okay? Yes, you have our permission to try this. We fully endorse you to go ahead and treat yourself to more, deeper, fuller pleasure wherever you can find it and as often as possible. And you can start with a bottle of Foria. Foria is offering a special deal for our listeners. Get 20% off your first order by visiting foriawellness.com/best or use code BEST at checkout. That's FORIA wellness.com/best for 20% off your first order. We recommend trying the Awaken Arousal Oil and Sex Oil. You will thank us later. It has been hot as hell this summer, and honestly, the only thing that's been keeping me sane is taking a nice bath every night, then slipping into my cool sheets and blissing out because they are the best sheets I've ever owned. I'm talking about Boll and Branch bedding. Their signature sheets are made with 100% organic cotton using the highest quality threads that are completely traceable, which is nice. But really what I love is how cool and crisp they are because they are woven to allow airflow, whether you get the 100% organic cotton percale or the light, airy linen made from European flax. It's like you're sleeping on an entire bed made of Diane Keaton's nicest clothes. And these sheets, they get softer and softer with every wash. I started with one set and now I have multiple sets because I just can't even think about putting other sheets on my bed now. My old sheets are dead to me. And I'm not alone. Boll & Branch's signature sheets are loved by millions of sleepers and have over 11,000 five-star reviews. And their worry-free guarantee means you can wash, style, and sleep in their sheets for an entire month. If you don't love them for any reason, send them back with free returns on all U.S. orders. And Boll & Branch has more than sheets. They've got the airiest blankets, cloud-like duvets, fluffiest pillows, and much, much more. So get the best savings of the season during Boll & Branch's annual summer event for a limited time. You can get 20% off site-wide plus free shipping, plus a free gift with a qualifying purchase at bullandbranch.com with promo code BUSY. That's Boll & Branch, BOLL and branch.com, promo code BUSY for 20% off and a free gift. Exclusions apply. See site for details.
Robin wants to know, I would love some career advice from you guys or the community here on getting back to work after staying at home for 10 years after having kids. A huge privilege to be able to do that, I know. I am now 40 and have a college degree, but I don't want to go back into the field I was in before. What can you put on a resume that has a 10-year job gap? I'm so intimidated and feel like I'm not marketable right now. It's slightly terrifying. I get that. I didn't stay home for 10 years, but I stayed home for a little while with my kids, and it felt like 10 years getting back into the market. I think there are professionals that can help you, career counselors and recruiters, headhunters we probably shouldn't say headhunters anymore, right?
I think probably not.
Recruiters who can sort of talk to you about like what the job market is even like and where you might need to start. Because you might need to go back a little bit from where you are depending on your field and your experience and where the field is now. I think it's also really useful to get a realistic picture because what I see with a lot of my friends is that when they're trying to re-enter the job market, they don't have a realistic picture of where the job market is. And that goes both ways. Sometimes they think like, oh, I thought I was going to have to start out at minimum wage, but it turns out it's actually a lot rosier in my particular field. Also, the other way, people are like, oh my God, 10 years ago I was making this and now it's even less for some reason. So that's wild. But you need all that information, right? Because information is power. There's tons of professional networking groups on Facebook, and nothing has ever come of LinkedIn for me personally, but I see people in other jobs constantly posting on LinkedIn and like connecting. So depending on what your field is and if it has like an active community on LinkedIn, that might be a place to look. And yeah, and you know, you need that information so that you can decide if you even want to pick up where you left off or like try something completely new or try something related. But like, it's a totally different world now than it was 10 years ago. So that's intimidating. I get what you're saying. That's intimidating, but also you shouldn't be intimidated because it's a totally different world for everyone, right?
Yeah, I was going to say that's the key.
Right. So
everybody's out there just trying to figure it out.
Right. So it's not anything you should be.
And I think like keeping your options open is important.
Yeah.
And also, you know, if you have the freedom of not having to be super tied into how much money you're making.
Right.
I mean, that's if you're lucky enough to be in that position, then it could be really freeing because you could try and see where you might be happiest back at work.
Right.
Maybe it would even surprise you. You may have a college degree. Okay, for instance, I have a friend who worked at a tech company, worked at a startup, post-college.
Yeah.
Was just always like, oof. My man has been at Trader Joe's for 15 years now.
Yeah.
And loves it.
Yeah.
And not a manager. He
Right.
is like, he works at Trader Joe's as a crew member.
Yeah.
And he loves it.
Yeah.
And it like provides everything that he needs. And he's like, and I like the flexibility. I like my coworkers. I like that everything's different every day.
Yeah.
And like, I love that for him. And I remember earlier in my 30s or, you know, late 20s, early 30s, when he started working at TJ's. And I think some of us in the friend group were a little bit like, is he having a crisis? Like,
Right.
He's going to work at a grocery. He has a college degree. He was working at Microsoft. Like, what is happening? But the fact of the matter is, this is the best fit for him.
Right.
He loves it.
Right.
He loves the schedule and the flexibility and all of it.
Yeah.
And like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So give yourself the freedom and grace, if you're able to explore it. Because after 10 years and raising 2 kids, you might not want to sit in an office. That might not be fun for you. Maybe you want to work retail where you get a great discount.
Right.
Maybe you want to work in a coffee shop where you talk to a bunch of people.
Right.
Maybe you want to be, I don't know, maybe you want to work in a wholly different field that you'll have to like come in at age 40 on the ground floor and be like working side by side with like 23-year-olds, you know? Or maybe that would bum you the fuck out and that's not what you want to do. I don't know.
Right. It's kind of like the last question when we were talking about like hobbies, like picking a hobby now that you have some free time. Like, I think you have to really think about who you are. And, you know, Busy was talking about her friend working in grocery, and my husband has a similar story. He was teaching college, and it was, you know, you think like, oh, like that's a career and you're a college professor. It was a grind for him, and it became impossible for him to even make a living at it in a way. It just didn't work for him. And so when we talked—
And prevented your husband, I'm talking for your husband.
Yeah.
And prevented him from like doing his own work, like his own writing and his own stuff. Cause he was like, it was too much.
Yeah, it's too much. And so when we talked about it, I was like, you know, the times that you smile the most are when you're recounting to me old tales of working in grocery when you were in high school and college. And like, maybe that's something to explore just for now and cut to like all these years later. And I really do think it's the best thing for him. I really do think it's the best thing for him. And he's good at it. And he gets to feel like he's doing a good job with things that like people need. There's never been a day when he's had that job where nobody showed up to go shopping. People need that service. And so that's got to be a good feeling of like accomplishment. So there's so many things, I'm always thinking about also like Eli worked in a plant nursery when he was in high school, and that was full of people that were coming back into the workforce who just love like plants and gardening, and they wanted to be surrounded by that. It like delighted them. And so it was like the best thing for all of them. Oh, something I also wanted to say about my husband is like, he weirdly happened to work in our town when he went to work grocery. He worked in our town, which we talked to our kids and we were like, will this be weird for you if dad is like working in the grocery store in our town? Mm-hmm. Like, because, it was kind of like, if you know the town of Westport, Connecticut, you understand what I'm saying. Like, it might be weird. It might be weird for kids whose dads are like captain of industry to then see their friend's dad working at a grocery store. We just wanted to know, and we just wanted to be open about it, and we wanted to give the kids the option to say like, yeah, that would be kind of weird for me. And of course, the kids were like, no, like it's fine, it's great, good for you. Well, one thing my husband said was how many of these dads who were captains of industry were constantly, he was like, this actually disrupts my day. I'm constantly being taken aside by a guy who's like a high-powered attorney or a CEO who wants to talk about like, why did you decide to do this? Because this is something that like I'm thinking.
Totally.
And Matt was like, I gotta put this bread out.
Yes.
Like I can talk to you, but like he was like, it's disrupting my work. And so I think that was something that was really interesting for him, that he was like, a lot of people's lives aren't working for them. And they're like going along doing this thing that maybe isn't the right thing for them. And so when they see someone else doing something else, they're like, can I talk to you about this?
Yeah. So I just, in this moment, would encourage you to be open. Be open, stay open.
Yeah.
And don't put any ideas on yourself about what a career or a job has to look like, because it looks different for everyone.
Yeah.
And also, you can have fulfillment in lots of different ways.
Nothing's permanent,
Nothing is permanent. Yes,
so you can try something, and if it's not right for you, or you might not be right for it, then you can try something else. And you have that luxury because you're coming back into doing this thing after 10 years. And by the way, don't discount your experience as a parent, because that is super important experience, and it applies to a million jobs, and a good employer will recognize that and know that and value that. And so, don't discount it as like a 10-year break on your resume. It was an unpaid head of household position that you held for the past 10 years. And anyone would be lucky to have someone who managed that working for their company. So good luck and keep us posted. This is from our friend Esphere, who says, it's a bit of a broad and oldest time question, but how does one keep up with life? I've recently got into working out, and as much as I enjoy it, I've noticed that now there are even less hours in a day.
Oh my God, totally.
And I go to bed with half my to-do list still unchecked.
It's so hard.
What's the best way to keep up with your work,
It's
home,
impossible.
hobbies, staying in touch with your family and friends?
It's impossible.
Esphere, make your to-do list half as long every day.
Yeah, but also like just know that it's like everybody's got that thing. You prioritize what you have to prioritize. I was for so many years so staunchly like would not miss the workout.
Yeah.
That I had to wake up early to do it, and like was just would not miss it,
Yeah.
And then I did realize at a certain point that like I was sort of letting other things lapse in its stead. And then I was like, okay, maybe I can be a little bit more judicious in terms of prioritizing. Like, oh, can I actually work out today? Or is that going to cause the rest of my day to be sort of frazzled and too chaotic? Some days for my mental health and like my like brain, I'm like, yeah, well, oh well, I gotta go.
Right.
I gotta do it. And some days I'm like, no, it's okay. I can sit this one out.
Right.
Prioritizing is so hard for everybody. I think sounds like you're doing your best. And also just being open and honest with your friends and family.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I really want to make this a priority. Seeing you, hanging out with you. Let's make a plan.
Right.
Let's stick to that plan and then stick to it.
Yeah.
You know? But other than that, I mean, task rabbits are helpful. Sometimes, like normally people you can't really have like personal assistants, which like, if you can, it's really nice. I don't have one right now, but
right.
There are some things that are falling by the wayside, but like task rabbits are great.
Yeah.
Because there's that, you can like hire a person online to like run an errand for you.
Right.
And sometimes if you can take some of that stuff off of your plate, then it frees you up to do other things.
Yeah, I think it's about being realistic. First of all, and this is something Busy and I talk about all the time because like just in the course of like doing the business that we do, like you have to be realistic about your own time, like how long something's going to take. And there's nothing worse than constantly underestimating the time that something's going to take when you know damn well it's going to take 3 times longer. And if you were just honest about it, you wouldn't have that log jam in your day, So like you have to use your experience to realistically figure out how much time you even have in a day to do something. And then how much doing that thing leaves time for the other things you need and want to do. And then I think you have to be realistic about like what it is you like to do and what it is you can let go and maybe think of some other way to get it accomplished. So for like, this is not the case in my family right now, but there was a time where my husband and I were both working so much, and a constant source of stress for us was how clean our house was. And we were both getting on each other's cases about not doing our fair share of cleaning. And the truth was, we were both exhausted. There was no time for us to either do our fair share of cleaning. And if I'm being honest, not like a big passion project for us either. There are plenty of things that we're motivated to do. My husband's constantly renovating our house and making home repairs. He loves doing that. I don't mind doing a load of laundry, but I got to be honest, I don't love getting down and scrubbing baseboards. So, that's a thing that I will avoid and find reasons that I have no time to do it. So at that time, we just decided like it was better to hire cleaning help so that we could stop ragging on each other about how we weren't helping out with cleaning. That's how we helped ourselves, And we weren't super lavish with it. We didn't have someone in every day. I think we had someone once every 2 weeks. And just knowing that somebody was coming to like reset our house and wipe everything down and make sure that we were kind of on track made it easier for us to maintain. And so that was a huge improvement in our lives. That's not the situation in our life now. Like it would be ridiculous of me to suggest having someone come in to clean our house at this time because we're just not in that place. But I do hope to get back to that place one day where someone could come in and clean. That's, that's the dream. That's the dream. I never loved coming home to my house more than when a dedicated professional who really knew what they were doing had cleaned it. And also broken a couple things because that happened literally. I feel like that would be like the finishing touch of the person that cleaned my house. She'd be like, and bang. Now to break one thing just to let them know that I can. And to always treat me well because I broke something pretty insignificant, but it was her thing.
I mean,
she was a real Butterfingers. And every week she'd be like, I broke a teacup, sorry. And I'd be like, it's worth it. It's worth the loss of a teacup.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the house looks fucking great. But anyway, that's my advice. Just like budget out your time. Like you can't spend more money than you have, but people are constantly trying to spend more time than they have. And you just can't. You can't. As my family would eloquently say, you cannot shove 10 pounds of shit into a 5-pound bag. And we're constantly trying to do that as people. And you just can't. You just can't. This is kind of related. Amanda in Austin asks, I'd love to ask your advice about how to find my new purpose now that I'm 52, kids are flown the nest, and I'm no longer taking care of other people 24/7. How do I figure out who I am now? I think this ties into so many things that we've been talking about today.
So many things.
Like figure out, listen to yourself. I think that's the biggest thing that you have to do is listen to what's going on in your head. Where does your brain keep going? What keeps running through your head and making you smile or making you feel motivated or making you feel like I should do something about that? I should do something with that. What are those things that you're like saying to yourself constantly and then maybe dismissing because they're just thoughts in your head? That's where I think the answer is about who you are now. What do you care about? What are you talking to your friends about? What are you having meaningful conversations with people in your life, but also yourself? And like, what can you not stop thinking about? What is it? What is it?
I think that's like the key. And also don't be afraid to trial and error. Try a thing. If you don't like it, that's okay. You can move on.
Yeah.
But there are this is a theme of this episode today, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Here's what I will say with regard to trial and error, because I bet a lot of you are like, oh, I've tried a lot of things. And sometimes when we want to try something, like let's just say what you want to try is like making mosaic tables. Like say that's your passion. You've seen a couple people doing it on Instagram. It looks easy to you. It looks fun to you. You have some great ideas for designs. I would say sort of start slow and don't bite off more than you can chew when you're trying something for trial and error.
Yeah.
Like if you decide that you want to be a baker, don't go out and buy every single thing that has to do with baking. Just start off with one project.
Maybe go to the library and borrow some.
Go to the library and
things.
Borrow some pans if you have that type of program at your library that, or borrow something from a friend and just start off slow, because I know this is something that a lot of you beat yourself up over, is that you decide you're going to try something, or maybe you're going to start a business making something, and you jump in with 2 feet and your whole checkbook. And then next thing you know, you have various piles of supplies and projects around your house, and you haven't followed through with any of them. And you feel too guilty to get rid of the stuff, even though you've emotionally moved on from attempting this. And so there you have these piles like confronting you every day and making you feel guilty and like a failure, and like you didn't do the thing that you said that you're going to do. And there's no reason to live like that. Like, first of all, if you have those piles, just get rid of the stuff.
Just get rid of it.
The money is already gone. And like, no one's going to hold you more accountable than you've already held yourself. So just get rid of the stuff and stop beating yourself up over it. But if you're going to try something new, I would just encourage you to like, just try it a little bit to see if you like it before you like invest everything in the world in it being your new life. Just, you got to try on, just like you try on shoes in a store. You know, if you had to pay to try on a pair of shoes, you might not try on so many pairs to find the perfect pair.
Totally.
If you had to buy them all. But
Good news.
You don't. They
don't.
let you try them on. So you should do the same thing with like a new direction in life.
Totally. Try it on, guys.
Well, thank you to all of you for sending questions
Such
to
good
us.
questions.
Really good questions. And I feel like it's always interesting how like a little theme emerges. And it, you know what, it makes me feel good because it makes me feel like we're all kind of in the same place or similar places in life. And I'm so glad that we're here to like talk each other through it and support each other through these questions that if you had that question, probably 1,000 people had that question.
100%. Yeah. So it doesn't matter that it's 5 months late.
And it's also really courageous to share your questions because, you know, it just is. It just is. It takes a lot of guts to say what's on your mind, no matter what's on your mind. So we love you for that. And thank you. And we will talk to you soon. We hope you're having a great summer.
I hope you're having the best time.
And we love you.
We love you.
Bye.
Bye.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
Oh no.